Hi, I'm Daniel. Today, we uncover a 2,000-year-old biblical caperberry remedy and the remarkable compounds modern researchers discovered inside it. For centuries, people across biblical lands used caperberries in traditional diets, but scientists are now investigating whether these tiny fruits. Here's what makes researchers curious. Caperberries contain plant compounds linked to antioxidant and anti-inflammatory activity in scientific studies. Inflammation plays a role on many joint discomfort issues, which is why scientists are paying attention to foods with naturally occurring protective compounds. One compound frequently studied in capers is quercetin, a natural plant flavonoid found in several health-focused foods. Researchers studying plant nutrition have found that capers rank among the richest natural dietary sources of certain beneficial flavonoids. But was this knowledge accidental? Or did ancient cultures observe benefits long before modern laboratories existed? Historical records suggest capers were valued as food, seasoning, and part of traditional wellness practices throughout the Mediterranean world. Today, researchers are examining whether compounds found in caperberries may help support healthy inflammatory responses in the body. And the most surprising discovery may not be the berry itself, but what scientists found hidden inside its powerful natural chemistry. When scientists analyzed caperberries more closely, they discovered a dense concentration of bioactive compounds rarely found together in such a small fruit. Among the most studied are polyphenols, natural compounds associated with protecting cells from oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is a normal part of aging, which is why researchers continue studying foods rich in antioxidant compounds.
Interestingly, capers thrive in harsh, rocky environments where many plants struggle to survive. Some researchers believe these tough growing conditions may encourage the plant to produce protective natural compounds. This idea fascinates scientists because plant defense compounds often become valuable nutrients in human diets. Modern laboratories are now using advanced technology to identify exactly which compounds may contribute to these potential benefits.
One reason capers attract attention is that they combine nutrition, history, and emerging scientific interest in a single food. Yet researchers emphasize that foods are not medicines, and understanding their effects requires careful scientific investigation. So what specific compounds inside the biblical caperberry have researchers been studying most closely? The answer may surprise you. One of the most researched compounds in capers is quercetin, a flavonoid that has attracted scientific attention for decades. Quercetin is found in many foods, but capers are often recognized as one of the richest natural dietary sources. Researchers have explored quercetin for its antioxidant properties and its role in supporting healthy cellular function. Another fascinating compound found in capers belongs to a group known as rutin, which researchers also continue to study. Together, these plant compounds create a nutritional profile that has sparked growing interest among scientists. But chemistry alone doesn't tell the whole story. The caperberry's historical journey is equally remarkable.
Capers were traded across ancient civilizations, connecting communities through food, culture, and traditional knowledge. Long before modern nutrition science existed, people often valued foods based on generations of observation and experience.
Today, researchers are revisiting many traditional foods to understand whether ancient observations align with modern evidence. And when scientists looked beyond the berry itself, they discovered something unexpected about the entire caper plant. Researchers soon realized that valuable compounds aren't limited to the caperberry. Many parts of the plant contain unique bioactive substances. The caper flower is especially striking, producing delicate white petals and long purple stamens that attract pollinators. Before becoming a caperberry, each flower undergoes a remarkable transformation, driven by nature's design. Scientists studying plant biology often examine these growth stages to understand how beneficial compounds develop over time. Interestingly, some studies suggest that compound concentrations may vary depending on climate, soil, and harvest timing. This means that where and how a plant grows can influence its nutritional characteristics. For thousands of years, communities living in dry regions learned how to cultivate resilient foods like capers. That resilience helped capers become part of regional diets, where dependable food sources were especially valuable. Today, nutrition researchers continue exploring how traditional foods fit into modern discussions about healthy eating. And one surprising aspect of the caperberry story involves the unique way these fruits are prepared before reaching the table. Fresh capers and caperberries taste very different from the versions most people recognize at the grocery store. Traditionally, capers are cured through brining or pickling, a process that transforms their flavor and texture. This preparation method has been used for generations, helping preserve food long before refrigeration existed. Scientists also study how processing affects nutritional compounds, since preparation can influence a food's final profile. Even after centuries, researchers are still uncovering new details about how traditional foods interact with human nutrition. Another reason caper berries attract attention is their place within the broader Mediterranean dietary pattern. The Mediterranean diet is frequently studied because of its association with overall wellness and healthy aging. Capers may be small, but they often contribute concentrated flavor to dishes without requiring large amounts. This combination of history, flavor, and scientific interest helps explain why caper berries continue to fascinate researchers. But perhaps the most intriguing question remains: what do modern studies actually suggest about joint health and inflammation? To answer that question, researchers have examined how compounds in capers interact with biological pathways linked to inflammation. Many studies begin in laboratories, where scientists investigate plant compounds before drawing conclusions about their broader significance. Laboratory findings can be promising, but researchers emphasize that further study is often needed to understand real-world effects. This careful approach helps separate exciting possibilities from conclusions that require stronger evidence. Even so, the caperberry remains a fascinating example of how traditional foods can inspire modern scientific questions. For many researchers, the real value lies in understanding how foods contribute to long-term dietary patterns. That perspective shifts attention away from miracle claims and toward the bigger picture of nutrition. In that larger context, capers become one piece of a much broader nutritional story. And perhaps that's why ancient foods continue capturing modern attention. They connect tradition with ongoing discovery. But the caperberry's story doesn't end in the laboratory. Its cultural and biblical connections are equally compelling. The caper plant appears in ancient literature and has long been associated with life across the Mediterranean and Near East. These regions developed rich food traditions, shaped by climate, agriculture, and generations of practical knowledge. Food was more than nourishment. It played an important role in community, culture, and daily life. When researchers study ancient foods today, they often explore both historical records and modern nutritional evidence. This combination of history and science helps create a more complete picture of how traditional foods were valued. Some scholars believe the caper plant's resilience may have contributed to its significance in challenging environments. Unlike delicate crops, capers can survive intense heat and limited rainfall, making them remarkably adaptable. That adaptability mirrors a broader theme found throughout history: communities learning to thrive with local resources. Today, those same foods continue inspiring research into nutrition, sustainability, and traditional dietary patterns. And as the story unfolds, one question remains: what can today's audience realistically learn from the biblical caperberry? One lesson from the caperberry story is that small foods can have surprisingly complex nutritional profiles. Another lesson is that traditional foods often contain layers of history, culture, and scientific interest. Researchers continue studying foods like capers because nutrition science is always evolving. Each new study adds another piece to a puzzle that researchers are still working to understand. That process takes time, which is why responsible science values evidence over quick conclusions. At the same time, exploring ancient foods can inspire a deeper appreciation for traditional dietary wisdom. The biblical caperberry reminds us that some of the most fascinating discoveries begin with simple questions. What did ancient people notice? What does modern science observe? And where do those stories intersect? Those questions continue driving research into foods that have been part of human history for generations. And before we conclude, there's one final perspective on the caperberry story that brings everything together. After exploring history, science, and tradition, the caperberry emerges as far more than a simple fruit. It represents a meeting point between ancient observation, and modern scientific curiosity.
Researchers continue studying its compounds, while historians continue uncovering its place in human culture.
Together, those investigations reveal how even the smallest foods can carry remarkable stories across centuries.
Whether viewed through history or nutrition, the caperberry reminds us that discovery often begins with curiosity. That's why scientists continue asking questions about foods that have accompanied humanity for thousands of years.
The biblical caperberry may not answer every question, but it certainly encourages new ones. And perhaps that's the most valuable part of this story: the willingness to keep exploring and learning. From ancient hillsides to modern laboratories, the caperberry's journey continues to unfold. Thanks for exploring the fascinating story of the biblical caperberry with me. I'm Daniel, and I'll see you in the next discovery.